Coach, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you guys?
We're doing awesome. It's really an honor to talk with you, Coach. We've been really excited to sit down and chat with you. So you have talked a lot about processing and picking up the offense. I want to take more of a macro look because you give us a micro look every day when you talk to all the media that's up there. From a macro perspective, can you teach, whether it's Caleb or anyone else at that position, how to process, or that's an innate skill you're born with? How would you answer that?
Now, some guys pick it up faster than others. It's like anything. You're growing up in the schoolyard, and whether it's a sport or whether it's academics, some guys are more natural to learn things, and so that's where we've been finding out more about our guys every single day. Some guys can handle a little bit more than others in each position group, and I think our coaches have been challenging them really well along the way. So there's a lot of clarity that's come through this process, and I feel good about what we're going to be able to handle going into week one. And we'll be able to grow as the season goes as well. We're not going to be a finished product going into week one. We'll reassess at the bye week, call it week 4 or 5, and then, hopefully the plan is we'll be playing our best football in November and December.
Coach, what are the differences or similarities in teaching or working with a veteran like Jared Goff as opposed to a second-year quarterback like Caleb Williams?
It's completely different. Jared had a lot of things that he could kind of relate to, whether it was concepts or whether it was situations that had popped up or relationships with teammates and working through that dynamic. There's a lot of things that you don't really consider about being in this building on a day-to-day basis. And so for Caleb, he's working through being not just learning a new offense, but also he's the face of the franchise and he's the leader of this offense. He's the most vocal communicator. And so there's a lot more that goes into play. And so I think we've got a really good group of guys around him that are all pushing the right direction. Yet for him, it's still every single day there's something new that's popping onto his plate that he really hasn't experienced yet.
Coach, the 2022 Detroit Lions averaged 437 yards and 35 points per game the first 4 weeks with you as the OC. That's not exactly a slow start for a new offense with a new OC. Additionally, in those 4 games, you averaged 164 rushing yards, and it wasn't like you had Walter Payton or Saquon Barkley back there. You had 4 different guys. So my question is, we all have high expectation that the insanity of so many years where we haven't won is going to be turned around and everyone's thrilled you're here. Is it reasonable to expect maybe not those numbers, but a pretty good starting point offensively from day one?
You never know. You really never know. Everybody's optimistic going into the season. I think our guys, they'll be feeling really good week 1, week 2. The best their bodies will feel all season long. I hope that we get off to that same fast start that we did a few years ago. But you neglected to say that games 5 and 6, I think one of them was a shutout, and the next one was only a 7-point game. And so it fluctuates. It does as you're trying to find your footing and your identity. Not only as a play caller, getting to know our guys more and more, but also for the guys settling in and getting a hold of the system. And so there are ups and downs. We want to avoid as many of those downs as we possibly can. And I think we have a prideful group. They understand that if we have a bad play or we have a bad day, the whole goal is not to allow that to trickle into the next. So we don't want 2 bad ones in a row, whether that's 2 practices or 2 games, whatever that is. They need to respond when something doesn't go well.
Ben Johnson's the head coach for the Chicago Bears. He's with us on the Kap and J Hood Morning Show on ESPN 1000 and on the ESPN Chicago app as the Bears get ready to take on the Bills Sunday. We got coverage all day right here on ESPN 1000. There's a lot of people listening to the show this morning, Ben, and they're trying to be able to reach the pinnacle of their life or their career. And you've been able to get to the top of your profession as a head coach in the National Football League. So personally, what does this mean to you, in which you had a lot of people that have helped you out along the way, but what does this mean for you to be in this moment right now, being the head coach of a charter franchise like the Bears?
Yeah, it's something that you get to reflect a little bit on during the summer when you have some free time finally. Mm-hmm. I told the group the other day that I'm here by the grace of God alone. You know, it was 6 years ago. I was out of football. I couldn't find another job, and so you know, the way that things work in this league, things happen fast. You know, you're at the height, and the next thing you know, you're at the bottom, and vice versa. So I'm very fortunate. My whole perspective has always been to put my head down and work hard, and you know, some opportunities have come my way, and I've been able to capitalize on it. So, man, I am honored. I think this is one of the special jobs in all of sports. Just like you said, this is a franchise that has a rich history, you know, and really a story that is unparalleled to most in this league. And so I am honored to come in every single day and you know, work to serve not only this locker room but the coaching staff as well.
True Fan Travel and ESPN Chicago are teaming up for the ultimate fan getaway to Sin City to see the Bears take on the Raiders in Las Vegas.
You get round-trip airfare, 3-night stay at Mandalay Bay, special live broadcasts and meet and greets with the full ESPN Chicago team, all-inclusive tailgate, tickets to Bears, Raiders, and more to come.
Spots are limited, so don't wait. Reserve your spot today at truefantravel.com. Back to you on the video.
Ben, in terms of practice, it's different. 25 years ago, there weren't, you know, a few thousand people with their iPhones charting every single thing you do. And if you tell the first team to stand to the sideline because they didn't get it in on time, the narrative becomes Ben threw them out of practice. J.J. Watt, we played the audio of him. He said, I used to think it was a joke, people charting plays and stats from training camp. He goes, it's insane. You're working on things in practice. What is your perspective on the way practice is covered today?
Yeah, I think it's probably a little bit overblown. You know, but I don't mind it either, because that's what our season's going to be as well. So I think it gets our guys used to the noise, because that's what's going to happen. You know, we have a bad play or we have a bad game, and the sky is falling. And so we just experienced that a little bit earlier here. Now it's in camp, and, you know, we have a couple good plays out there, and we're the best thing since sliced bread, and then, you know, a couple bad plays, and, you know, we don't belong to be out on the field. And so I think it's really good for our guys, our locker room, our coaching staff, because you learn quickly what's the truth. We keep the truth within this building. We like to talk about that all the time. If you're reading the headlines, you're scrolling through Twitter, then there's a lot of things that are going to either feed you or they're going to, you know, make you feel pretty bad. So cancel all that out. Just focus on the main thing. And I think I'm pretty proud of our group right now. I think they've done a good job over the course of camp, whether it's positive or negative, just focusing on the main thing and trying to be a better football team.
How do you look at this game against the Bills coming up, Coach, as far as the offensive starters? Does it feel like a quarter? Because he could be out there for one series. That could be one quarter. What does that mean from a staff standpoint and how long they could be out there?
We'll see. I think we got to get through this joint practice and see how that goes. It should tell us a lot. This is a Super Bowl caliber team that we're about to practice against, and a lot of respect for Coach McDermott and what he's been able to build over the course of the last few seasons. You know, in Detroit last year, we went against them at the end of the season, and boy, they were rolling. It ended up being a shootout, you know, 40-30, one of those type of games. And, you know, this is going to be a really good test. And so I can't say right now what Sunday's going to look like without making it through Friday first. And as always, we like to assess the data, who's getting a lot of yardage out there in practice, and who do we need to scale back on, just so we're trying to take care of injuries and be preventative that way.
Ben, in terms of what kind of team you want to be, wide zone, gap, under center, shotgun, I mean, there's so many different ways you could skin the cat. You said yesterday, I don't know yet what we want to be. When do you think you'll know, or is that an evolving process throughout the 25 season?
It'll be an evolving process. Like I said, it's the beauty of having the bye week where it is for us. You know, probably the players don't like it as much because it doesn't break up the season like you would like it to. But for us as a coaching staff, it's going to take us a few games just to find our footing and decide what we're really, really good at. And so I think I think it could be up until Game 4 before we really hone in on schematically what we want to be about. Now, as we've gone through camp, I think we've gotten a lot more clarity. I think guys have really stepped up to the forefront in terms of what they do well, and we'll look to highlight that particularly early in the season here.
Coach, you can go back as far as you'd like or something as recent as you'd like as far as offense that you've admired over the years, college or pro. When you watch film of some team or some coach, you nod your head in approval and go, yep, that's the way it's supposed to look. Besides your own, by the way.
Yeah, no, I think when I first got in the NFL, I appreciate that. It was McDaniels in New England because, with Brady, they could do whatever they wanted. I think I've alluded to it before. They could run it 50 times a game. They could throw it 50 times a game. And they would morph week in and week out to take advantage of whoever they're playing against. I think over the last few years, the team I love to turn on is the 49ers. I think Shanahan's one of the best in the business, just being able to manipulate defenses. McVay's in that same mode. There's a number of really good play callers that they're not just out there, throwing darts at a play sheet. They have a plan. They understand the rules of defense, and they look to exploit those, whether it's through formations, whether it's through tempo, whether it's through concepts. That's what's really fun to look at, that chess match that way.
You are a big Cubs fan. I broadcast for that team for 25 seasons. I was there that night in Cleveland and literally had tears when the game ended, pointing at my late father in the sky. Dad, we finally did it. Where were you that night, and how did you fall in love with my favorite baseball team?
Shoot, Cap, I don't even remember where I was that night, but that was a special year, was it not? I mean, that was
insane.
I mean, that was so cool. I grew up in the mountains of North Carolina, and just it became habit that we would get home from school, me and my little brother, and WGN was the channel that was on, and so we got into watching the Cubs every afternoon. That was just our routine, having a little snack after school and watching Mark Grace and Sammy Sosa and Ryan Sandberg and
Harry.
Harry K. That's right. I mean, it was the lovable guys there, and so that's what we did, and we just kept following them throughout. And so when we ended up, I think I had graduated. My brother was just graduating high school. He put his name in for season tickets, and it took a few years, and ended up getting some season tickets. And that was right around the time that they ended up winning it all. So we kind of hit the jackpot that way.
Yes, you did.
Coach, our Twitch chat wants to know, what is your finest delicacy? Are you deep dish or are you thin crust when it comes to pizza in Chicago?
I'm a deep dish guy in Chicago. Absolutely.
Love it.
How about that?
Absolutely. My wife works for Lou Malnati's. Anytime, you're hooked up.
Here we go. I like it.
Coach, as always, we appreciate the time. Good luck against Buffalo.
Appreciate it. Yep.
Have a great day, man.